Okay, this is a video for lesson 7 for my grade 12 essential math students in vehicle finance. And we are looking at leasing buying a vehicle, but having, of course, to finance it. In other words, let's see, I think our first example is, you don't have this one? Okay. Nope. Okay, so if you look at the first example, just peeking ahead to the next page, Joel is buying a car for $18,500. Now I don't know about you, but I don't have $18,500 kicking around. So, oh wait, I have my $18,500 in my other jeans. Oh yeah, yeah. That's very few people have the cash. They're liquid enough to just go out and buy a car. That's not to say that you can't. When you have found a vehicle that you wish to buy and you know the total price is the first blank that they want, you must decide how you want to pay for it. You can pay for it with cash. If you've been saving up for a vehicle for several years diligently, maybe you can just buy one with cash. But very seldom is that how anybody buys a car. So how do you buy a car then? Well, you're going to get a loan. But what do you call the act of paying for something by getting a loan? Well, it's called, you may finance the vehicle with a loan from a bank, credit union, or through the dealership itself. Banks aren't the only place that you can get a car loan, right? Credit unions, and sometimes, especially the larger car dealerships, they have their own finance departments that will set you up with a loan. Very often, they are actually just connecting you to a credit union or a bank. I know the last place I bought a vehicle from a large dealership, and I was making my payments to a credit union because even though I did the financing with the guy in the office at the car dealership, they're not really, that particular dealership is not into their own credit department, their own money managing department. They're not in the loan business, they're in the car business. But that's changing. A lot of car dealerships, they're making money by lending you the money to buy their vehicles. So remember, we learned that last unit in home finance. We learned that, you can think that, hey, I'm not renting, I'm buying a house. But if you're making payments on a mortgage, you are renting money from the bank to pay for this house. And that's true for cars too. You are renting money from some bank or credit union or the car dealership itself so that you can pay them for the car. So you can finance the vehicle with a loan from a bank, credit union, or through the dealership. You may wish to make a down payment for part of the cost and then borrow the rest. You're going to see a bunch of the questions in the homework here, just to go off aside for a sec, that'll say, oh, to buy this car, you have to put down a down payment. That's the way it was for most cars you bought if you go back a few years. You had to come up with a down payment. But now, again, now that most car dealerships are making money off the interest, they don't really want you to put a down payment down because that's just more money that they're making money off of you because you borrow it at interest. And they advertise it like they're doing you a big favor in big letters on the ad, 0 money down. Oh, isn't that nice? They're not making me do a down payment. Well, that's not really doing you a favor, right? That's them making more money off of you. If you can come up with a down payment when you're buying a car, that's less that you have to borrow and less interest that you pay. So a down payment's a good idea. And when they advertise 0 money down, they're not helping you. They're helping themselves. So that's something to think about. And again, you're going to notice the parallels in this lesson with, just like with mortgages, our last unit, when you purchase a vehicle with a loan, a financial institution pays the selling dealer on your behalf, right? You are renting money from that financial institution to pay for that car. And in return, you agree to pay back the money borrowed over a specific period of time. Unlike houses, where the amortization can be 25 years, I just saw in the news the other day that there is now a very large growing segment of the Canadian population that is mortgaging their house for 30 years. Cars don't go nearly that long. 5 is the average. You can get a 6 sometimes, 6-year car loan, but not very often. It's usually 5. 5 or less. The financial institution will charge you interest, of course. Also, you could call that the finance charge on the money borrowed. If you have a down payment, you reduce the amount you have to borrow. Now, is the interest like it was in houses? But I mean, remember back to home finance, we actually hit a couple of examples where the amount of interest ended up being just as much as the cost of the house. With a car, it's never quite that bad, which might surprise you. After all, a car is a depreciating asset, right? You'd think the interest would be higher to borrow money to buy a car. A house, it gains in value generally. Yeah, but the difference is it's extremely easy for them if you stop making your car payments to get their asset back, right? If you stop making your house payments, well, I mean, eventually they could kick you out of the house, but that's a fairly big, drawn-out process. You do have some human rights that prevent them from throwing you out where you're going to starve and die. On the other hand, you have no rights when it comes to not paying your car bills. If you're not paying your car bills, all of a sudden one day your car won't be there. They will have taken it back. Repossession is what that's called. So they don't need to charge you the kind of interest that amortization on mortgages is because it's not as big a risk to a bank. Moving along, we will use a chart similar to the amortization we saw in the last units. I never spelled this word right. Amortization. There we go. So very similar to the amortization table we used in Unit 2, but it is a different table. If on the exam, oh, that's right, we're not writing an exam. In the days when we had an exam in this course, we'd always hand kids both, and you have to know which one's which. Of course, it says right on it, mortgage. But that doesn't stop people from using the wrong one when they have both in their hands. But notice, doesn't that formula look familiar? It's the same formula we had back when we did home finance. So here we go. Let's do our first and only example. Joel is buying a car from a dealership for $18,500. He decided to get a personal loan from his bank. That's something I should bring up. Now that now that car dealerships have their own in-house credit financing, it's not a bad idea to, if you say, okay, I've looked at the ad and I went and did a test drive, I'm thinking of buying this car. Before you sit down with their finance department at the car dealership, go to your bank, especially if it's a bank you've dealt with a long time. Maybe you already have a mortgage there. You're a customer they want to keep, and they want to, again, banks aren't your friend. That was our theme last unit. But they do want to keep you if you're a good customer. Ask them, say, hey, I'm going to buy this car at this price. Do you think you could beat their financing and offer me a lower interest rate? Now, some car dealerships probably wouldn't even go for that, but some might. Depends on how motivated they are to try to make that sale and move that car. Right now, it's very much a seller's market. We have less cars out there than people want to buy. But that changes. I remember a few years ago, you drive by the car lots and they were just packed. They just weren't moving. People weren't buying new cars 6, 7 years ago. So they were very motivated. A little something like, oh, you want to go through your credit at your bank rather than our credit department? Doesn't change the commission for the sales guy. He's cool with it. So it's something that perhaps you could explore. Anyway, Joel's going to his personal bank. Now, this is an easy question. This 18.5 already includes remember all the stuff we learned about, like the air conditioning tax and the freight and all that. So this is it. This is remember what we called that when it includes all those things? This is the sticker, whoops, can't spell. This is the sticker price. So now I want to calculate the total purchase price of the car. So we've already got all the add-ons and stuff in there. That's the sticker price. So it's $18,500 times 1.12. Why 1.12? Because GST and PST. Okay? So put that together, and you're going to get, I've already punched buttons on this, $20,720. Okay, B. Down payment of $2,750. So I take my total purchase price, including the tax, I minus my down payment, and here's how much I'm going to have to borrow from the bank if I want to buy this car, or from whatever credit institution I'm getting it from. Let me write that better. $17,970. So that's how much I'm going to have to finance. So he gets a loan at 4.25% over 4 years. Using the loan payment chart, calculate his monthly loan payments. And again, this formula should look real familiar. It's just like the formula we used in home finance. So you put the loan amount on top, divide by 1,000, and times by the table value. Okay, so we got to look ahead for the table value. It's on the next page. 4 years, I already have it circled from this morning's class. So years to repay, 4, interest rate 4.25, so that one. $22.69 per every $1,000 borrowed. So we times that by 22.69. And I've already punched buttons on that. I get $407.74. Okay, so now, once you've paid the whole loan back, how much have you paid? What is the total amount paid for the loan? Well, I'm paying $407.74 every month, there's 12 months a year, for 4 years. If you just knew 12 times 4 is 48 and you just times 48, that's fine. That will give me a grand total of $19,571.52. Okay, so how much interest did we pay on this car then? Well, we paid $19,571.52. And the original loan I took out was for $17,970 from question B. So that means that the total interest I'm being charged is $1,601.52. So again, that's not nearly the kind of interest total that you get on a mortgage, but still, because you didn't have the cash sitting there to buy a car, it cost you $1,600 in interest to finance it. Okay, so what is the cost of this car overall then? Once I own the car, how much have I paid for it? Well, how much did I pay again? $19,571.52. That's the total of my 48 payments. Oh yeah, but don't forget I also put down a down payment. What was it again? It was $2,750. So I, Joel, whoever, bought this car overall for $22,321.52. And remember, the sticker price was $20,700. So, yeah, it costs money to buy a car if I have to finance it. But very few people have that kind of cash liquid just sort of sitting in the bank account waiting to buy a car. All right, that's it. That's all there is to this lesson. The homework for it, there's a typo here. It says at the end after the chart that we're doing assignment 3D. Last assignment was 3D. This one's 3E. So today we're working on assignment 3E in your workbook. I don't have a hand in for this one yet, so we're just going to work on the worksheet today. So 3E worksheet, I've already got the key up on the blog. If you get finished, it's only one side. You should be able to finish it. And that means that people who still owe me assignments can get the hand-ins kind of caught up. I know some people caught up yesterday, but I still got a lot of people who still owe me either hand-in A, B, or C. Yep. Okay, so that's it. I'll stop my video there.
No, I just.
All right, so I will stop the video there.